The dig site on Kepler 442b had been silent for 3 months. Dr. Asil Mehran knelt in the red dust, her gloved hands trembling as they hovered over the crystalline surface that had just revealed itself beneath centuries of sediment. The artifact pulsed with a faint blue luminescence, responding to her touch in ways that defied every scientific principle she had studied in her 20 years as a xenoarchaeologist. "Ferrat, you need to see this," she whispered into her comm unit, though her partner stood only meters away, cataloging samples near the excavation perimeter. Ferrat Khan looked up from his datapad, his dark eyes narrowing against the twin suns of the distant world. When he saw Asil's expression, equal parts wonder and terror, he abandoned his equipment and crossed the distance in quick strides. The moment he knelt beside her, he understood why she had called. The artifact wasn't just glowing, it was breathing. "This is impossible," Ferrat murmured, his scientific mind already racing through hypotheses and discarding them just as quickly. "Crystalline structures don't exhibit biosignatures. They don't." The ground beneath them shuddered. The artifact's glow intensified, bathing the entire dig site in azure radiance. Then, without warning, it spoke, not in sound, but directly into their minds, bypassing language and culture to deliver pure meaning. Humanity, acknowledged. The trial begins. The Galactic Concordance had dismissed humanity as insignificant for generations, a young species barely 3 centuries into space travel, confined to their modest corner of the Orion Arm. The elder races, the Vorleth, the Kretak, the ancient Xantharians, had built their empires over millions of years. They possessed technology that bent reality, weapons that could unmake stars, fleets that numbered in the thousands. Humanity had 12 capital ships. 12 vessels against a galaxy of powers who saw them as children playing with toys they didn't understand. But the artifact on Kepler 442b had different ideas. "What do you mean? The fleet is assembling itself?" Admiral Victoria Cross demanded, her knuckles white as they gripped the edge of the tactical display aboard the UHSV Defiance. Asil's holographic projection flickered in the command center, her face streaked with dust and exhaustion. "I mean exactly that, Admiral. The artifact. It's not just a relic. It's a key, a forge. It's been waiting." "Waiting for what?" "For us," Ferrat interjected, stepping into view beside Asil. "For humanity to reach a specific threshold of technological and cultural development. The artifact contains the accumulated knowledge of a precursor civilization, the architects. They seeded the galaxy with these forges, testing younger races to see if they possessed the qualities necessary to inherit their legacy." The Admiral's jaw tightened. And what qualities would those be? Adaptability, resilience, the refusal to accept impossible odds. Asil said, and for the first time since the discovery, she smiled. "Sound familiar?" On the view screen behind the Admiral, impossible things were happening. In orbit around Kepler 442b, energy was coalescing into matter. Massive skeletal structures materialized from quantum foam, their framework singing with the same blue light as the artifact. Ship hulls assembled themselves atom by atom, drawing resources from the asteroid belt and the planet's own core. Weapon systems that operated on principles humanity had never conceived crystallized into existence. The Stormbreaker fleet was being born. The Vorleth Armada arrived 3 days later, alerted by energy signatures that had lit up sensors across 17 sectors. They came with demands. Surrender the artifact, abandon the system, and accept protectorate status under Vorleth oversight. It was the same ultimatum they had, delivered to 100 lesser species before. Asil and Ferrat stood on the bridge of humanity's new flagship, the Architect's Hammer, a vessel so far beyond their previous technology that it felt like magic wrapped in mathematics. Around them, the bridge crew worked with frantic determination, learning systems that seemed to anticipate their needs, interfaces that adapted to human thought patterns. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported. "Put them through," Admiral Cross ordered. She had transferred her flag to the new vessel, though she trusted it about as far as she could throw a moon. The Vorleth commander appeared on screen, a being of crystalline intelligence and cold arrogance. "Human children," it spoke through universal translators, "you have awakened something beyond your comprehension. Surrender the architect technology immediately, or we will be forced to take it." Ferrat glanced at Asil. They had spent 72 hours studying the artifact's database, barely sleeping, consuming information that rewrote their understanding of the universe. What they had learned terrified them. What they had learned also gave them hope. The architects tested every species they encountered, Assel said quietly, addressing the Admiral rather than the alien on screen. They left their technology for races who could prove they deserved it. Races who didn't conquer through overwhelming force but through innovation and determination. And the Vorlith? The Admiral asked. Failed the test, Farah finished. 2 million years ago. They tried to claim the architect technology by force. The Forges rejected them. Admiral Cross turned back to the view screen, her expression hardening into something that reminded Asil why humanity had survived every catastrophe thrown at it, because they produced people who simply refused to quit. Vorlith Commander, the Admiral said, her voice carrying across the void. Humanity declines your generous offer. This system is under our protection now. The Vorlith fleet numbered 300 warships. Humanity's Stormbreaker fleet numbered only 37 completed vessels, with dozens more still forming in orbital construction fields. The odds were impossible. Humanity had always preferred impossible odds. The Battle of Kepler 442b lasted 6 hours. The Stormbreaker ships moved with inhuman precision, their weapons tearing through Vorlith's shielding like tissue paper. But more than the technology, it was the humans crewing them that made the difference. They adapted, improvised, found solutions to problems the architect's systems hadn't anticipated. When a Vorlith dreadnought disabled the architect's Hammer's main reactor, Farah rerouted power through the artifact interface itself, turning the flagship into a massive directed energy weapon. When enemy fighters swarmed the construction yards, Asil calculated gravitational harmonics that turned partially formed vessels into improvised kinetic barriers. The Vorlith had superior numbers. Humanity had something better, the absolute certainty that retreat was not an option. When the last Vorlith ship jumped to hyperspace, fleeing the system in defeat, silence filled the bridge. Slowly, impossibly, humanity had done it again. Survived when they shouldn't, won when they couldn't. Admiral Cross exhaled slowly. And Dr. Moran, Dr. Khan, what else did the architects leave us? Asil met Farah's eyes and they shared a knowing look. The artifact had shown them glimpses, stargates terraforming technology, weapons that could rewrite physics itself. Enough power to reshape the galaxy. Everything, Admiral, Asil answered. They left us everything. The question is, what will humanity do with it? Farah stepped forward, looking out at the Stormbreaker fleet, humanity's inheritance, earned not through conquest but through the same stubborn refusal to quit that had carried them from caves to the stars. What we've always done, he said. We'll adapt, we'll survive, and we'll prove we deserved it. Behind them, in the heart of the ship, the ancient artifact pulsed one final time, a mark of approval from architects long dead, for the young species that had finally passed the test. ND.